Hello, CME Nation, and we are officially legal. That's right. This is our 21st episode, so we can now drink, gamble, and participate in all types of debauchery, or as Pat calls it, Saturday night. Well, it is the best time of the week, though, boys, because it is time to enter Sandman Sports. As always, I am here with my co-host, Pat Klett. Pat is a fixture in Vegas, and he is so smooth, he once tried to tip a blackjack dealer with his phone number. And then there's Bill Sanders, the one and only Sandman. Bill is such a legend in Vegas. He even gets comped at the Fremont Street Taco Bell. Before we get into the show, let's tell everyone where they can find us. Well, Sandman listeners, you can find us everywhere, just like condoms at the Chicken Ranch. You can also find us on Instagram at Enter Sandman Sports. You can visit our website at entersandmansports.com, where we have tons of articles, expert advice, our St. Louis Syndicate videos, all of our podcasts, and much more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enter Sandman Sports and follow us on Facebook at Enter Sandman Sports. Well, boys, can you believe that this is our 21st episode?
No.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. It's been a fun journey, though, and in honor of 21, I thought we would pay some homage to the one and only Sin City, Las Vegas itself. Obviously, gambling is a big part of what we talk about on this show, and we've certainly mentioned Vegas on this pod, and I know Pat went there a couple months ago, but let's dedicate the opening to this unique city. In a moment, I'll ask you guys to share some favorite things and favorite stories about this city. But first, let me share some facts about this paradise in the desert. So, Las Vegas was founded as a city in 1905 and incorporated in 1911. In 1931, Nevada legalized casino gambling and reduced residency requirements for divorce. This year also witnessed the beginning of construction on nearby Hoover Dam, which caused an influx of construction workers and their families, and that certainly helped Las Vegas avoid economic calamity during the Great Depression. The construction of the dam was completed in 1935. Following World War II, a large number of lavishly decorated hotels, gambling casinos, and big-name entertainment started to sprout up in Vegas. In 1955, the Moulin Rouge Hotel opened and became the first racially integrated casino hotel in Vegas. In 1989, the Mirage opened on the Strip and ushered in a completely new era of extremely lavish, high-end resorts. Many others started to follow, including ones with different themes, the Bellagio, the Venetian, the Paris, the Wynn, and many, many others. Some other interesting facts about Las Vegas include, people in Las Vegas consume more shellfish in a day than the entire United States does in a year. More than 60,000 pounds or 30 tons of shellfish are consumed in Las Vegas per day, many times as part of the popular all-you-can-eat buffets. Wow. Over 300 weddings happen every day in Las Vegas. The MGM Grand is the world's largest hotel. The legendary hotel and casino has 6,852 rooms spread across 30 floors. The hotel was founded in 1975 as the Marina Hotel and Casino, and it wasn't until December 1983 that it became the MGM Grand that we know today. There are more than 150,000 total hotel rooms in the city. In 2022, Las Vegas earned $8.2 billion from casinos. So they're doing all right there in the desert. The city only receives around 4 inches of rain each year. The rain only tends to fall for about 26 days out of the entire year, and it's most common during February. And with over 41 million visitors annually, Las Vegas is one of the most visited cities in the United States, and it's a top 3 destination in the U.S. for business conventions. While Nevada is the only state in the U.S. with legalized prostitution, it is a fallacy that it is legal in Las Vegas or even Clark County. There are several licensed brothels within driving distance of Vegas, but none right in the city. For example, the famous Chicken Ranch is 60 miles away. And to end this on a sports focus, in 2016, Las Vegas had no professional sports teams. Much of this was due to the concern of mixing gambling and sports and the potential risks involved with that. Well, that concern has dissipated because by 2028, they will have 3 teams playing professional sports there, as they currently have the NHL's Golden Knights that started in 2017, the Raiders, who moved there in 2020, and Major League Baseball's A's will be there in 2028. Okay, boys. Well, I know we have all been to and like Vegas, but would love to hear from each of you about your favorite or perhaps even least favorite things about Vegas. Any hotels or casinos you love? Any great restaurants? Your favorite time to go? Anything you like to do outside of gambling there? Any fun stories or memories? So, all right, Pat, you want to lead us off, buddy?
Well, I've only been there twice. 2009, we drove there. It was a good, good 40 some hours to get there. And then I think we drove more hours than we were actually in the city because we had to drive home. The drive there, a lot of fun. Drive home, sucked. My last trip, I mean, I'm not an expert on the town or anything, but I do like how close the airport is to the city and the Strip. I think that's really cool. You just fly right in. It's like you land right on the Strip and then you're there. And the golf was a lot of fun. And I think it's weird because pretty women talk to me there, which is weird. I don't know what's going on. It's like maybe they're trying to sell me something. I don't know. I don't engage, and I get away. I run away quickly because I'm just there to spend money and lose my money. You know, there's only one reason I'm there, and that's to give away money. But I love the town. It's fun. It's a dangerous place for me though. I don't think I would survive a month there. So, what about you, Bill?
Yeah, Pat was saying he'd been there twice, and I was thinking back, trying to just in my head think about how many times I've actually been there. I bet you, gosh, I mean, I've been 21 for 30 years now, and I've probably been there 60, 70 times, 80 times. I don't know, a lot. For me, I loved it when I was in my 20s. I think it was super fun in my 30s. In the 40s, things started to change a little bit. I don't even think it's so much about me getting older that's changing it a ton. It's just that the city's changed a lot. It's just way more expensive now than it used to be. You used to be able to go down there. You would just find amazing meals for cheaper. Hotels were not crazy expensive. You know, even golf, things like that were really fun to do, seeing a show, all that type of stuff. Everything's just really, really started to get like premium in terms of cost. You know, we used to be able to fly down there from Seattle for $120 or something like that. Now it's like flights will be $400 just to get there from Seattle. So I really think that it's that part of it has changed. I still think it's a lot of fun, but I think it's just my idea of fun in Vegas has changed significantly. I love going to shows. I love going to fancy restaurants, nice meals. I really actually like going down there with my wife, with our kind of, couples friends. It's super fun, but she doesn't love Vegas very much, so we don't end up doing it very often. The golf's great, like Pat mentioned. The weather's phenomenal. It's funny, we go down there for a lot of soccer tournaments, and Bierman mentioned the weather. We happened to be down there in February for a few of these things and got poured on. So it is ironic, I guess, that the timing that we go down there for these soccer deals is quite rainy at times. But anyway, that's it for me. I actually really still like the city. I just think that maybe it's a little bit different. Downtown Vegas is a dump. I just avoid downtown Vegas. The South Strip, not my favorite.
Yeah, I don't love downtown either. So I've been to Vegas, not 70 or 80 times, Bill, but I've been there dozens of times, and it has definitely got more expensive. I hadn't really thought of that, but you're absolutely right. If I don't ever go back, it's fine. I like it, but I wouldn't miss it. But the one thing I have never gone to there is for March Madness. Have either of you been there for March Madness?
That's on bucket list for me. I would love to do that.
I would like to do that.
It's fun.
I would like to do that.
Yeah,
so
it is fun. It's crazy down there, though. Yeah, I mean, if you want to try to just get a bet in at a sports book, I mean, it's just nuts. But I've been there for conference championship week too, so the week before.
I've heard that's fun
also
too.
Really fun.
Yeah. I've been there for the championship game, so I've been there for the final game in the Final Four, but that's a totally different feeling. So
we stayed. We stayed
go
out
ahead.
in Henderson, which isn't
Yeah, I
as
love it out
crazy.
there.
And Henderson has some nice casinos and good sports books, and so I think
I might
that's
do
a
that
good
if
way
we
to
go back. My wife likes it too. We haven't been in years, but if we ever go back, we might stay out in
Yeah,
Henderson.
Green Valley
too.
Ranch. Haven't we talked about
Yeah.
that before?
We
That's
yeah,
where
I think
that's
we
where
have.
I was.
Yeah.
I went to
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
that's nice. I like it
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
I have. I mean, for a long time, I loved Mandalay Bay. I thought, that's a really nice one. We had to go for work a couple years ago, and we stayed at Caesars. And I do have to tell you that is a really nice place for an older resort. I've never stayed at the Wynn, but I've got a good buddy who loves that place. Says it's really, really nice. I've seen a lot of good shows out there. I've never golfed in Vegas with, I've heard that's fantastic, including from Pat. Would love to do that someday. I did play in a World Series of Poker event out there years ago. Not the main event, but it was a lesser buy-in. I lasted about 4 hours and then lost with pocket aces. So,
shoot.
that was fun. I gotta tell you, I'm a decent poker player, but it was intimidating out there with so many players, so many, professional players just staring at you. It just definitely wasn't as fun of an experience as I thought it was going to be. But I will just share real quick one memorable story that pops out. It was actually from my first time there ever back in 1995. I went with my buddy Keith Vesper, who I've talked a lot about on this show. It was the summer before our senior year in college. We went in August, like right before class started. We had no money, so we stayed at the far end of the Strip, which is now called the Stratosphere, but it was called Bob Stupak's Vegas World at the time. And frankly, it was a freaking dump, dude. I remember us walking back from the Sahara or the Riviera or one of those places. And this really drunk guy comes up to us and he tries to start peeing on us as we're like walking down the sidewalk there. But I also thought I was murdered during this trip. Let me explain why. So one of the nights I played blackjack at Bob Stupak's World there, Vegas World, at the casino. I'm on a heater. I cannot lose. We're playing Keith's there. Eventually he goes up to our room and I just keep playing. But now it's like late into the night. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I am drinking a ton of coffee, just left and right, coffee to stay up. Finally, I start feeling very lightheaded and dizzy and leave the table. Somehow I get back to our room, but I can't even like open the door. I'm knocking on the door. I can't like figure out how to open the door. I'm staggering. I can't see straight. Keith helps me in, gets me to the room. I immediately start throwing up nonstop in the bathroom. Everything's spinning. I knew I wasn't drunk. I knew it had nothing to do with that because I hadn't drank in hours, but I literally thought they drugged me because I was winning money. It's my first time in Vegas. I was probably up like $500. So I mean, we're not talking a lot of money. That's how naive I was. I'm like, oh yeah, they're drugging me now at the table. But it turns out I drank so much coffee that I actually got caffeine poisoning, which is a thing, and it fucked me up for basically like 2 days. Honestly, I couldn't leave the bed, let alone the room, for at least 24 hours. And poor Keith was kind of stuck by himself. But it wasn't so bad that I didn't go back. It did not deter me from ever going back to Vegas. But I do drink a lot less coffee at the tables. That's for sure.
It's totally a different experience now too. I was thinking, putting notes together, that it used to be you'd hear the clinking of the silver coins from the slot machines all the time. You'd like that was nonstop, and now it's just a totally different, like fabricated noise of the one-armed bandits and all that stuff. And anyway, it's just.
There is one thing that hasn't changed, though. Surprisingly, there is still a lot of frickin' smoke in those casinos.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of hookers, to Pat's point.
It's like
lots of hookers.
Sure are friendly around here.
Well, yeah. It's those Southwest.
That surprises me because I said it's not legal in Clark County. I can't believe that they would be doing illegal sex acts like that.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, weird. I have lots of stories that I plan on sharing with you guys when we're in Cincinnati for the nailed it payoff.
Okay.
Stories that my dad, who listens to this, doesn't need to hear necessarily, but yeah, it's you mentioned Mandalay Bay being your favorite hotel for a while there. I'm pretty sure I might be on the banned list at the Mandalay Bay. So
really? Why is that?
I'll tell you guys.
someday?
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you guys more. I'll tell you guys,
Mr.
more
Sanders. Sorry, I'm sworn to secrecy. I won't
I'm
be able
pretty
to tell
sure
you
he
anything.
knows, but I mean, I got stories for days about Vegas. I mean, when you go there that many times, you're bound to have all sorts of stuff. But
I have
anyway.
a few others too. That was about the tamest one I could share.
Nice.
But yeah,
Good.
you're gonna definitely have some stories if you go to Vegas that much. So yeah. All right, boys. Well, thank you for helping us give Las Vegas some love today. Now that we are officially 21 episodes in, I guess that means we should actually get into the show now. So here we go. As usual, we'll start with headlines from the past week, then our hot takes and reflections. Then it's on to our Stone Cold Locks, where we continue to stay hot with another 7-2. We have another fun top 5. This one will be looking back at some of our favorite sports moments from 2024. And of course, we'll have plenty of fun and shenanigans along the way. Plus, speaking of Vegas, we'll hear Pat's side of the story regarding the time he punched an Elvis impersonator for forgetting the words to Hound Dog. Okay, let's dive into the major headlines from the past week. In the college football playoffs, the Final Four is set after the quarterfinal matchups. Last week, we shared that Penn State beat Boise State 31-14 to advance to the semifinals. This Thursday night, they will play the Notre Dame Fighting Irish as Pat's ancestors put the beat down on Georgia, winning 23-10 in a game that really wasn't that close. The Bulldogs could never really get anything going with backup quarterback Gunnar Stockton, and Notre Dame continues to look like they are the complete squad on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be tough to beat. In the famed Rose Bowl, we got to see a rematch from one of the better regular season games of the year when Ohio State and Oregon battled it out. Unlike the 1-point win by the Ducks in Autzen several months ago, this game belonged to the Buckeyes from the very beginning. They jumped out to a 34-0 lead, and Oregon could never recover, eventually losing 41-21. And in the game of the weekend, and perhaps the season, Texas outlasts the plucky Arizona State Sun Devils 39-31 in double overtime, despite ASU running back Cam Scatabo doing everything short of putting on a Superman cape in order to will his team to victory. Man, that guy was just incredible. He's thrown up on the sidelines 1 minute, then he's running in and he's passing the ball for touchdowns the next. It was truly one of the more fun games that I have seen in a long, long time. Despite Scadabo's heroics, Quinn Ewers stepped up when needed and led the Longhorns to a huge win. They will now play the Red Hot Buckeyes in a highly anticipated game on Friday evening. In the NFL, the playoffs are finally set. There weren't a ton of games that mattered over the weekend, but a few did. First, my Bengals took care of business as predicted and beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They then needed the Dolphins to lose, which they did, to the Jets, and the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs, which did not happen. Instead, the Broncos rolled over the third stringers from Kansas City and won 38-0 in the other big game with playoff ramifications. That one occurred in Detroit on Sunday night, where the Lions earned the number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs by handling Pat's Minnesota Vikings 31-9. And as a result, Pat, I like pepperoni and sausage on my Detroit-style pizza, sir. Thank you very much. In the other game...
Too soon, baby.
In the other game that mattered fairly significantly, the New England Patriots managed to beat the Buffalo Bills 23-16. I think most owners and general managers would love to see that fighting spirit, and they would love to see that momentum heading into the offseason. Unfortunately, that win booted the Patriots out of the number 1 draft pick, and they will now draft 4th in April. And the top brass in New England did not like that too much, prompting them to fire first-year head coach Jared Mayo after the win. Rumors abound that ex-Titans coach and former Patriots player Mike Vrabel is the frontrunner for the head spot there. So we will see. All right, so the number 1 seeds are Detroit in the NFC and Kansas City in the AFC. In our Stone Cold Lock section, we'll review the matchups this week and give our thoughts on the games in Wild Card Weekend. But for now, boys, let's get into our hot takes from the past weekend's action. Yes, that's right. It is time for Sandman Sports Hot Takes, brought to you by Mike's Hot Honey. The honey so hot, regular honey recently ghosted Sydney Sweeney, saying, "You're cute, but I need real heat. If you haven't tried it yet, seriously, what the hell are you waiting for? Go to mikeshhothoney.com right now and order some, or go to the honey aisle at your local grocery store.
So good.
It is so damn good. All right, Pat, start us off with your hot
Well,
takes from this past weekend.
Speaking of something not so good. If you watch the Duke's Mayo Bowl, I had some vested interest because I had a lot of money on the Gophers.
Did they dump Mayo over somebody? Please tell me they did.
Well, they always do that to the coach who wins. They do the Mayo bath at the end. But the funniest thing about that was they're trying to like advertise and promote Dukes as like, you can put it on anything, kind of like Mike's Hot Honey. And the announcers, they're giving them this food, and the first thing they gave them was a banana and mayonnaise sandwich. And I forget the announcer's name. He's good announcer, but he was like, nope, no chance. Spits it out in the garbage live on TV. And then the second time they give him a dilly bar, for like an ice cream dilly bar with dumped in Duke's Mayo. And again, they just like, oh no, that's terrible. That's horrendous. It's like, why are they doing this? Why are they trying to promote them?
Yeah, if I'm Duke's Mayo, I would so not want that.
Yeah. So that was.
I do think
funny.
Pat might have stumbled onto something there though with the hot mayo call. I don't know if they actually have that, but Pat, you might propose that.
Duke's has like a line. They showed the lineup.
Do they have hot mayo? Okay.
Well, I don't know what they had. They have a bunch of different ones.
Propose it to Mike. Don't go to Duke. Mike can expand his selection. You can go into Mayo now.
Hot mayo. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I got 5 of my 6 teams in the playoffs for Odyssey, so that's good.
Nice.
That's my one pool that I'm really, really focused in on. That and the Ben Harper. Ben Harper, I'm gonna try to make some moves this week. I'm all in. I'm all in this week on the Ben Harper too. But nice. I don't know. What else? The Sunday night. Let's just. It felt like a terrible dream. It was so gross. I was waiting the whole game to just start flying, and then my teeth falling out, and a tornado coming to ravage the town, and I can't fly away fast enough. Like a terrible nightmare that everything's happening at once, and I didn't wake up. It was terrible. Some of these throws, my God, it was just terrible. The Sam Darnold just looked like he had been. And the whole team looked like they had been like had a voodoo curse on them, like where they just things weren't working like they should, and that's fine.
Not good.
They had they had a game like that earlier in the year against the Rams, and it's just kind of a glitch. And I actually appreciate it because now everyone's going to be down on the Vikes, and I can bet heavy on them. So they did me a favor more than anything.
Yeah.
So
they're still favored.
Yeah. So
they're favored this week on the road, which I was surprised.
Yeah. So screw you, Eric. Let's see. Their D was awesome early too, and I was like, "This is great." They're giving them chances. They got red zone chances, and that was hard to watch. But what else? Oh, so Eric, you jinxed my team, and because you're jealous, and you're jealous of me always being right, and you sit there and eat potatoes like a wannabe Irishman. And you probably don't even know. You probably don't even know 3 House of Pain songs. So you're a fraud.
I do not.
Wow.
What I am going to do though is I'm going to put some potatoes and some mayo on my Detroit style pizza, and I'm going to just love it. I'm going to send you pictures of it.
Yeah. No, that was congratulations. I'm proud of you. And I'll
pay
up.
Thank you.
You paid up.
It was
I'll pay up.
It was a weird game. It was a weird game. I did obviously predict, I thought Detroit was going to cover, and I thought they would win decently, but Minnesota was just never in that game. Like, I don't know. They just didn't show up. It was weird.
But right? I did the other games, like you got the 38-0 Broncos win. Like that's just, it's so crazy. And then these coaches getting fired for for winning, which is as it should be. These guys are pros. They should play hard every week. And I loved seeing the Bears beat the Packers. That was awesome. So
okay. Well, is that it for your hot takes, Pat?
I guess.
All right. I'm gonna try to go rapid fire because I got a zillion things here, but I don't know if you guys happen to watch any of the World Juniors gold medal hockey game, U.S. versus Finland, but what a freaking awesome game that was. And the reason that I actually even am paying attention is because Jeff Heil, good buddy from Minnesota, his son Caleb is one of the best goaltenders in the United States. Didn't make this World Juniors team because it's an under 20, and there's just too many good 06 players. Apparently 9 guys I think were on the roster, Jeff said, but Caleb didn't make the team. But still, it was just cool to see the US, and they came back from 3-1. It was an awesome comeback. They won in overtime, and then I don't know if you guys saw the highlights, but they were playing Freebird after the US would score a goal. And I mean, you want to talk about an electric arena and scene after they scored the game winner in overtime. Freaking awesome goal too. But then they're just ripping Freebird out there, and players are going nuts, fans are going nuts. You guys got to see the highlight. It is freaking awesome. So anyway, just shout out to the US and those kids. That was a really cool thing. Hideki Matsuyama, who I know Bierman has an affinity for as well, treated him well in a
Yes,
Calcutta back in the day at the Masters. Hideki went 35 under, you guys, to win the Sentry Open, first tournament of the PJ season. I know people will probably be listening to this podcast after the Sony Open tomorrow comes out in Hawaii for the second event of the season. But I just want to say, if you're interested, we have a ton of great golf stuff. We've got a new website, Sandman Sports, that is freaking awesome. Reach out to me, Bill at entersandmansports.com. If you're interested, we'll see if I can hook you up on the golf pools. I know you'll probably be listening to this after the season or that tournament started, but shout out to Hideki. What a cool moment. Set the record for all-time lowest score for a PGA Tour event. I mean, just absolutely sick. Colin Morikawa went 32 under and finished 3 shots back. I mean, it was just insane. So those guys are so good. Eric already mentioned Texas ASU. What a phenomenal game. Pat, I didn't want to talk about Detroit, Minnesota. I was just going to mention Jeremiah Smith, the freshman wide receiver for Ohio State. That dude is just a man-child. I mean, he is just so fun to watch. He's huge. He's athletic. He's talented. Catches everything near him. Really fun. Ohio State looks unbeatable right now. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But then the last one, and I'll kick it to you, Bierman. TGL was last night, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch it, but this is simulator golf. It's Tiger and Rory's venture. I was super excited about it. Literally, nobody else in my friend circle was at all interested in this thing. Everybody thought it was stupid. I actually really enjoyed it. So I was wondering if you guys watched it.
No.
Didn't watch it.
I have no interest in it.
Yeah, that's what most of my buddies said. It's Tuesday nights. It's on ESPN. It's really well done. Now, will it longevity and will people attach to it? I don't know, but there's a lot of really cool personalities and professionals, and so I'm interested to see if it takes off at all. I think what would be kind of cool though is to start doing some, like, I put a bet down on the Bay Club, and they were plus 100 and they won. So it was, again, just stupid, silly little bet, but it's I don't know. I just wonder if the gambling world will attach and whether we can do some content around it. I think it could be kind of fun. So anyway, that I was just going to mention that. And Tiger Woods, his team plays next Tuesday, and I bet you're going to see a lot of people tune in for that. So
yeah.
We'll be back with this and nailed it, by the way. So prepare yourselves.
All right. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Anyway. So for me, I'm going to kick things off with a story completely off the beaten path. It's one that caught my eye this week. A fairly unconventional tale from Division II basketball that I just think deserves way more attention. So I came across this article on The Athletic about a coach named Jim Crutchfield, and I'm just fascinated by it. So it really got me thinking about how we approach success in sports, and honestly, why more people aren't kind of paying attention to this guy. So here's the quick rundown. So Jim Crutchfield, age 69, is the head coach of the Nova Southeastern University Sharks, a Division II basketball powerhouse, I believe, just outside of Fort Lauderdale. But Crutchfield did not exactly follow a traditional path to get here. He never played college basketball. He was actually coaching, Pat, you like this? Coaching tennis before getting a shot to coach basketball at West Liberty University, another D2 school a couple decades ago. All right, so why is he noteworthy? Let me break it out. So Crutchfield's teams play faster than anyone else in all of college basketball. His Sharks average 86 possessions per game. That is nearly 10 more than the fastest team in Division 1. This relentless pace includes pressing on every single possession. Literally, they never take a breather. Since adopting this type of style, Crutchfield has won an incredible 86.4% of his games. Guys, that is the highest winning percentage of any NCAA coach with at least 10 seasons of experience in any division across all of NCAA. Over the past 4 seasons, Nova Southeastern has gone 112-4. They went undefeated and won the national championship in 2023. And then with 5 new starters in 2024, they went 32-3 and lost on a buzzer beater in the title game. Before Nova, he also turned West Liberty University into a strong D2 program in his first year there after replacing a coach who led the team to 4 wins the season before. And this was his first year coaching. They were picked to finish last in their league, and they went 21-10. 7 years later, still at West Liberty, they were undefeated and they reached the Final Four. So why is he not coaching D1? So despite his success, he's just never really been considered seriously for a D1 job. He says he was a finalist for one 12 years ago, but nothing ever came of it. And here's my question. Why the hell not? Seriously. So, okay, his system, yeah, it's reminiscent of Paul Westhead's Loyola Marymount teams in the 90s and even Nolan Richardson's 40 Minutes of Hell Arkansas squads. It's been tried before, but both of those examples actually had success. I mean, freaking Arkansas, they won the national championship doing that. Crutchfield's innovation and results, to me, speak for themselves. In a world where low-level D1 programs recycle the same cookie-cutter coaches, why not take a shot on someone like Crutchfield? He's proven that he can turn around programs from the ashes, win consistently, and bring excitement to the game. He's 69, so it's not like he's going to leave for greener pastures after a couple good years with your program. And let's face it, the publicity from his unique style alone would draw attention to any program that's willing to take the leap. If I'm the athletic director at a school like Florida International or Florida Atlantic, I am making that call. Worst case, it doesn't work and you move on, just like with any other hire. But the potential upside, you're bringing in an electrifying style play and a winning culture to your program. So let's think outside the box here, people. I'd love to see Jim Crutchfield get a shot at D1. I just think he'd do a great job there. So
that'd be cool.
You know, right. He's just going full court press the whole time. That's his thing.
Threes as quick as he can chuck them up.
I mean, 86 possessions a game, dude. That's a lot.
Fence all day. That's crazy.
I love people who try new things. Everything in sports, it's the same old shit. That's why I love, now that we're in this new era of like coaches going for it on 4th down a lot more, like that to me is exciting. I mean, even 10 years ago, 4th and 1, everybody knew they're punting. It's a given. They're punting. Like that gets so boring after a while. And it's the same. Basketball there's not that much new you can do with basketball. It's kind of a boring sport just to begin with. So the fact that this guy is doing something so innovative, and he's like succeeding at it, I don't know. I love it.
You did see in the Detroit game how he went for it on 4th and Campbell went for it on 4th and 1, like I predicted, and I told you it was going to blow up in his face, but we didn't on it.
Yeah,
of course, of course. I could have been hailed as probably the greatest analyst ever to analyze sports, and they let me down.
So my last hot take, I do want to end with this nugget from the sports gambling world. So apparently Flutter Entertainment, the owner of FanDuel, reported a significant profit decline due to a streak of winning bets by customers on U.S. sports, particularly during the 2024-25 NFL season. This trend resulted in them earning $438 million less than expected, with substantial $74 million single loss occurring when the Lions beat the 49ers a couple weeks ago. So I think the only logical explanation here is that our listeners owe a huge debt of gratitude to this crew for our incredible Stone Cold locks, especially Mr. Pat Klett, who continues to tear it up. Of course, our Sandman legends, who have winning records consistently across the board, And I must humbly say Bierman's best bets have been fairly impressive all season
Yeah.
too, for both college and pro, where we've been 34-19 during the NFL season and 27-16 during bowl season. So want to keep padding those wallets? Keep tuning into this podcast. Keep visiting entercmnsports.com for all the content and advice to keep you smiling and counting those dollars roll in. So I think that's the perfect segue, guys, for Stone Cold Lock segment. But we are going to do this one a little differently because we only have 8 games to choose from. We got the 2 college games and the 6 NFL games. So we would have a lot of duplicates. So instead, this is what we're going to do. Last week, we looked back at our preseason predictions from this podcast to see how we did. We all did quite well, I will add. So this week, we're going to look back at our CMN Legend preseason predictions first to see how we did there. Then we'll get into the 2 CFP semifinal games, and I want your guys' thoughts and breakdowns and picks for those games. Then we'll share our highlights and any picks that jump out to us from the 6 wildcard playoff games. So
Sounds good.
Sound good? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's look back at our legend picks and see how we did. So we were each asked to predict 14 different things. So I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. We'll start with, we were each asked to predict a top 10 team that we felt were most likely to fall out of the top 25 by year's end. You both crushed it by predicting Michigan, and I blew it by predicting a team currently in the Final Four, Notre Dame. So you guys did great there. I was way off. We'll just say 2 other legends, Mike Paston and Ken Wintermote, also selected Michigan there. So nice job, fellas. Then we were asked to predict a team that started the season ranked outside the top 25 that we thought would make the playoffs. So kind of the opposite trend there. This one I actually nailed by predicting Boise State.
Nice.
And Bill missed with his Washington homer pick, and Pat got let down by Mac Brown and his Tar Heels because he picked North Carolina. I do have to give some love to Brandon Lewis, who also hit this with his SMU prediction.
Oh, nice.
Next was the Big Ten champion. Predicting Big Ten champion. I hit this one by predicting Oregon. You 2 were close with Ohio State. Mike Paston and AJ Flanders also hit with Oregon. For the SEC champ, all 3 of us were correct by predicting Georgia. For Big 12 champion, none of us hit, as you both picked Utah, and I had a chance in the championship game with my pick of Iowa State, but ultimately it was Arizona State, and none of the legends had ASU. For the ACC champ, again, neither of us got this. I was closest with Miami, Florida. You 2 had Florida State. Nobody of the 10 legends picked Clemson. Wow. That kind of surprised me. I mean, I know Clemson's not Clemson, but that's some disrespect there, I think, to Dabo.
Has there ever been a team like Florida State that was that highly regarded and then ended up that terrible?
Probably
in any sport.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Usually you would think it would be due to injury or something. You know, like a key figure gets injured, but this is just terrible. Yeah.
How did Mike Norvell hold on to his job? I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, it was bad. Then we get into the NFL division predictions. The AFC East, Bill and Pat, you both selected the Dolphins. I did hit this one with the Bills. Both the St. Louis Syndicate, Brandon and Nate, they had the Bills too, as did AJ Flanders. For the AFC North, I whiffed big time with my homer pick of the Bengals. You both got it with the smart pick of the Ravens. And this one was a mixed bag, as we had 6 legends pick the Ravens and 4 had the Bengals. For the AFC South, I whiffed again, super big time on this one. I reached for the Jaguars. Man, I really thought they were going to be much better this season.
Me too.
But they were not. And you both hit it with the Texans, so well done there. As a note, I was the only idiot, as all of the other 9 legends picked the Texans. So well done, fellas. For the AFC West, unsurprisingly, we all picked Kansas City, and we're correct, and all 10 legends hit that one. For the NFC East, you 2 both were right with the Eagles. I missed big time with the Cowboys, another team that I thought would be much better this season. For the NFC North, Bill and I both hit it with the Lions. Pat and his Vikings were close, but fell a little short. Everyone else had the Lions. except Ryan Harrington, who went with the Packers.
Oh, wow.
For the NFC South, all three of us had a chance to hit going into the final weekend because we all selected the Falcons, but ultimately it was the Buccaneers. And the three of us were wrong. All 10 legends had picked the Falcons to win that division. And for the NFC West, this one I am particularly proud of, as I correctly predicted the LA Rams, you2, and all the other legends had the Niners, which was a very reasonable pick, obviously. But man, they were just another team that disappointed this season for sure. And Pat is the only one for his Super Bowl prediction who has both teams still alive. As he predicted, it would be the Ravens versus the Eagles, with Philadelphia prevailing. Bill had the Chiefs winning over the 49ers, so he can still get the champ right. And I was way off on this one, as I had the Cowboys besting the Bengals. Ugh, that is just bad. There were a few other legends who also still have both of their Super Bowl predictions alive. Nate Blackston and Mike Paston both have the Chiefs over the Lions. Hakan has the Ravens over the Lions, and Ken Wintermote has the Eagles over the Ravens. So basically, we made 14 predictions, not including the Super Bowl matchup. Eric and Bill hit 7. Pat hit 6, but he's still alive on his Super Bowl prediction as well. So I would say we all did fairly well, gentlemen.
Not bad.
Nice job. Yeah, nice job. So, all right. Well, as I said, we won't do our traditional Stone Cold Locks this week, but we will break down some of the games and make some predictions. So first, just let me share that we did have another great week last week. We collectively went 7-2 combined. I went 3-0. Pat and Bill, you both went 2-1. So for the regular season, Stone Cold Lock records, and I think we probably won't do any more Stone Cold Locks the rest of the year. I mean, we'll break down games and stuff. I think we'll kind of do, I think, what we're going to do now for the rest of the football season, just because there's less games each week. But Pat won our competition and ended at 39-17-1 for the season. Very well done, sir. That was awesome.
Eric, you were making a charge, though. You were making a little charge.
Yeah, I made a charge toward the end. I did go 6-0, I think, the last 2 weeks, but I finished second at 34-22-1. So nothing to sneeze at there. And same with you, Bill. I mean, you're right there. You had a 31-24-2 record. 31-24-2. So I mean, we all made money. So well done, gentlemen. Very well done. So let's start off with Thursday night's CFP semifinal game between Penn State and Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame is currently favored by 1.5, and the over-under is 44.5. So who do you like to win the game? Who do you like to cover? Any other things jump out at you? Pat, let's start with you.
Yeah, I like Penn State defense, but I got to go with my ancestors here on this one. Linebacker, I forget the kid's name for Penn State, but
stud.
Number 11. All the good linebackers wear 11. But yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a slobber knocker, as they say. But I can't go against my ancestors, and I think Notre Dame, all three phases are looking decent. I mean, Riley Leonard's not putting up huge points, but he can scramble when he needs to. And in a game like this, when they need those yards, he'll be on the move, I bet. And he's just kind of sneaky that way. He's not going to put up video game numbers, but he does some good things, especially with his legs. The way he can turn a scramble into a first down. So give me the Irish.
Yeah, I like that. I just looked, Pat, the over-under is 44.5. That actually feels a little high to me.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
It's more like that's more like a pro number. Usually the college numbers are a little higher, but this feels like a pro game, defense and game. So
yeah, I lean slightly to Notre Dame. I don't have a super strong feeling either way. I just, for some reason, as I was putting my picks together, I just want to pick Penn State so bad, and I don't know why. I just have been so impressed with how they've played, I guess, the last 4 or 5 games, and they crushed the Huskies, and so I got to see that firsthand, paying close attention to that one. But I just love Notre Dame. I just feel like they're going to do enough, to win this one. So, Bierman, I don't know if you have like a strong vibe on this one, but I just didn't have it.
Their kicker, I do. Notre Dame's kicker seems to have it right now too. So, yeah, that kid was struggling for a little bit, but he seems to have figured out the kicking woes. So that'll help too. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
I like Penn State to cover. I do think it's going to be a very close game. I mean, Penn State was my pre-bowl season pick to win it all. They've looked the part so far. I got to stick with them. They've cruised past SMU, dismantled Boise State. I think the key here, for Penn State, for them to win, quarterback Drew Aller, he's been solid, but not spectacular, even against Boise State. Like, he's going to need to make at least a couple big plays, I think, against Notre Dame. The ground game, that's been their real strength. Their running backs, Allen and Singleton, they combined for over 220 yards versus Boise. Notre Dame's rush defense is good, but not elite. So I do think Penn State has the advantage there. Penn State's defense is elite. They limited Boise's star running back. We talked about this, Ashton Jeanty, to a season low, 104 yards. They're going to employ, in my opinion, the same strategy against Notre Dame. They're going to force Riley Leonard to make plays and beat them through the air. This is, to me, where the game's going to be decided. If Notre Dame can run successfully, or if Riley Leonard actually can exploit the secondary by passing well, Notre Dame's going to win. If not, I think Penn State has it. So Notre Dame, though, I mean, like you said, they easily beat Indiana. They knocked off Georgia. They have looked really good. Their defense is top 5, so they're going to pressure Aller. They're going to make Penn State's running game critical to this game. I'm just not sure Leonard has one more big game in him, and that's where I'm just backing Penn State. Both teams, honestly, they deserve to be here. They are two of the best 4 teams in the country. They have no glaring weaknesses. Penn State feels destined for a title run to me. I do expect a tight game. So I am taking the points. I do really like the under. I see this being a 21-17, 17-14 type of an affair. So I really do like the under in this game. All right, so let's shift to the other semifinal. This one is the Cotton Bowl between Texas and Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 6 points, and the over-under is 53.5 on this one. So, Pat, who do you like in this one?
I said it at the beginning of the playoffs. Ohio State's going to roll through the whole thing. And I mean, they're just looking so strong. But this is kind of like, I worry about this, and I worry about the 6 points, because this is where you're thinking, oh, they're going to crush, they're going to roll. And then they get in this is where you get, I don't know, what's it called? A trap. This is like a trap game.
Trap line.
This is a trap.
Such a trap line.
It's like you're feeling so confident. You're like, this is no doubt they're gonna cruise. So I'm worried a little bit, but I got to stick with my Ohio State prediction. They're looking good.
Yeah, I don't have anything really different than Pat there. I just feel like OSU looks completely different, dominant team since that Michigan game. I think it's going to be really interesting if it's an all Big Ten final as well. This is a little bit of the SEC trying to save a little face, I feel like. And I just don't think Texas is that good. Now, it's silly to say because it's the Final 4 teams, but they just have not impressed me. I mean, is that ASU team really that good? They had to scratch and claw just to get through that team. I think they've looked vulnerable all throughout the season. I'm still not a real believer in Quinn Ewers. And honestly, as much as I like Sark because he was here at UW and I root for him to, because of some of it battling his demons, root for him to be successful, I just always worry that his teams they're undisciplined. And I just worry that that's going to end up costing them at some point. I think it might happen this week. I really think OSU rolls in this one. This is one of my favorite plays of the weekend, to be honest.
Don't you guys believe in the transitive theory? I mean, don't you know Texas went up, whomped Michigan in the big house, and then Michigan just no sweat at all. They go into the shoe and beat Ohio State. That tells you right there Texas is going to win the game. No, I do think Ohio State's going to win the game. I do like Texas plus the points, but this one is tough. Both teams are ranked in the AP preseason top 4. So these teams were expected to be here. A few weeks ago, fans were calling for Ryan Day's firing in Columbus. It's hilarious how things have changed so quickly. Buckeyes have turned things around. Credit to them. They dominated Tennessee. They dismantled Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Just back-to-back statement wins. Ohio State, they have the number 1 ranked defense. It's been relentless. Defensive end Jack Sawyer, who I can't stand, but I give him credit. He's been playing with championship level intensity. Quarterback Will Howard bounced back after a rough Michigan game. He shined with 320 yards and 3 touchdowns versus Oregon. You mentioned Jeremiah Smith. Bill, that guy just incredible. Had a monster game, 187 yards, 2 TDs. Their two-headed rushing attack combined for 180 rushing yards. I mean, this offense is nearly unstoppable.
Smith won't be able to go in the draft, right? Is he too young to go in the draft? Is there
Jeremiah? Yeah, probably.
He's got to come back and play more college.
I don't remember how that works. Do they have to go 2 years?
Actually, I don't know.
I
honestly don't know.
There's some, Anyway.
So I think they do. I actually think they do in football. But for Texas, for their keys to victory, in my opinion, so quarterback Quinn Ewers, despite criticism and constant calls for Arch Manning, he delivered in clutch moments against Arizona State, including, if you guys watched the game, just a game-saving, literally. They had to get this 4th and long touchdown pass. Defense remains their strength. They are now tasked with disrupting all those explosive stars that I just mentioned. They got to somehow figure out a way to limit the Buckeyes' ground game, which I think they can do. But then they got to get into Will Howard's face as well. They got to pressure him. They got to take him off his game. And they got to get some help they got to get the bad coaching decisions that we saw in the Michigan game to come up here again, which I actually think will happen. Ryan Day's track record in high pressure games just raises a lot of questions for me. So Ohio State, I know they're favored by nearly a touchdown. They've looked unstoppable in recent weeks. Texas, I know you don't think they're that good, Bill. They still are a top 4 team. They're here.
Yeah.
I think this is a lot of points to get in this type of game. I do think Ohio State's going to win the game, but I'll take Texas points. What I really love here is the under, though. Both defenses are very good. And I realize Ohio State's offense, we just talked about how good they are. They put up 41 points. I just don't expect a huge high-scoring affair with this one. I don't think they're going to come out and have another 30-plus point game. 53.5 seems very high to me. Let's say it goes 28-24. That still gets you the under. And I could see that. I could see 28-24, but I realistically see it being like 21-17, 24-21, something like that.
I like that. Yeah. I hadn't thought about the under, but yeah, I do like that. Makes sense.
Okay, so then let's go into the NFL wildcard round matchups. Let me list them, and then you guys can just jump in wherever, something strikes your fancy or something jumps out at you. So on Saturday, the Chargers travel to Houston to battle Texans. Los Angeles is favored by 3, and the over-under is 42.5. Later that night, the Ravens host the Steelers and are favored by 9.5, with the over-under being 43.5. On Sunday, we have 3 games. The early game is the Broncos visiting the Bills. Buffalo's favored by 9. The over-under is 46. The 4:30 game is the Eagles favored by 4.5 at home, hosting the Packers, and the over-under is 44.5. And the Sunday night game sees the Washington Commanders heading south to Tampa to battle the Buccaneers. The Bucs are favored by 3 at home, and the over-under is 50.5. It's the highest over-under of the weekend in the NFL. And on Monday night, in what I think is the most compelling game of them all, Pats Minnesota Vikings travel west to face the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings are favored by 1.5 points, and the over-under is 47.5. Pat, kick us off.
Yeah, I just feel like we're going to get an upset somewhere. I feel like one of these dogs is going to sneak through, Steelers, Broncos, Green Bay, what have you. I feel like there's going to be a little sneaky. I can't say where. Not
Rams.
sure where. Rams, maybe, but I feel like there'll be. No, that's not going to happen. But yeah, look for a little. I think there'll be a shock. I think there might be a shock. I don't think it's going to be all chalk. And then,
I agree.
For me, I got the Vikes winning. Tampa Bay is probably going to sneak through. I do like Baltimore, Buffalo. I feel like it's a Baltimore, Buffalo. I don't know if if the seeding makes it where they can meet in the AFC finals, but I feel like Baltimore and Buffalo are the 2 teams that are going to come through in that side. But NFC is kind of a little bit more wide open, I feel like. But yeah, that's what I got. I'm excited to watch them, but I feel like it's going to be some close games, and I don't be surprised if there's a sneaky little upset Tomlin dials up something crazy.
Yeah,
Who knows?
that would be the
you know what I mean?
crazy
Like
one,
I can see that
Yeah.
just shocking the world. But
that line feels
9's
big
a
to me.
lot.
Way too many. And it's so funny, Bill, because it wasn't one of my best bets. And like, I haven't really been, but I thought about it today as we were prepping for this and I was going through that. And I was like, why have I not liked that line more?
Yeah.
AFC North division rivals. I mean, like,
Mhm.
that seems crazy to me.
It does. That's a lot of points.
Not saying that I would want to bet Pittsburgh though,
Right.
Yeah.
but that line just feels like a lot. I think I'm going to kick it over to you, Behrman, because I actually really liked your best bets article this week.
All right.
And
Well,
I
thank you.
found myself nodding along as I was reading it, like really on the same page. The one thing I'll say is that, to Pat's point as well, I actually really like the underdogs this weekend.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
do too.
kind of the general theme.
Eric, you have a
best
bets. You have a best bets article?
Yeah, you should check that out, Pat.
Yeah,
check that out.
It's not anywhere near as good as the Stone Cold Locks that you're throwing up every week, but no, we've done all right.
You've had
there.
a good year.
I do. I have. The three my three best bets this week are all underdogs, and you're right. You did text me. You liked them. I love these games. I'll start. The Packers. You had mentioned you're a little nervous with Jordan Love.
Yeah,
health.
Is he healthy?
I don't know. I'm not worried about it, honestly. Obviously, if he doesn't play, I'm gonna be worried. I haven't heard or read anything that tells me he's not gonna play. And if he plays, I think that
wasn't
tells
Hurts
us he's gonna be
concussion protocol. Wasn't Hurts in concussion protocol?
Yeah, that one had me a little nervous too.
I don't know. I mean,
is that just
I
a formality? That's probably just.
I think both of them are smoke. Honestly, I think they're both gonna play. So,
crazy.
Both teams have had really good seasons. Both teams have top 10 offenses and top 5 defenses. So, I mean, they're evenly matched. Jalen Hurts is fantastic. Saquon Barkley, it's been a game changer, but I just really like what Jordan Love has become. He is a top tier quarterback, and I did not predict that. Last year I was down on him, but he had a great year last year, and this year he's just continued on. Josh Jacobs, I didn't think he was going to do anything going to Green Bay, and he's been great. He's been hard-nosed. I just like it. I think the Eagles will probably prevail, but 5 points is a lot for me in this. Packers aren't going to be phased by the cold. They play in the cold, so going to Philadelphia, there's not an advantage there. I like that. And I'll go faster than the other ones. Commanders and the Bucs. I just like Commanders. The line I'm using is 3.5, so you get the hook. I think it's down to 3 now, but I just Jaden Davis. I love. Jane Daniels, I just love. I mean, he does not act like a 24-year-old rookie.
No,
he's phenomenal. He's one of my favorite players to watch. So, it'll be interesting to see how he
Daniels. Is it Jameson Daniels?
Jameson Daniels, exactly. I think it'll be interesting to see how he handles the pressure in his first playoff game. The Bucs, I've just not been impressed with the Bucs. Although I got to give Baker Mayfield some love. He's had a really good year. He's just been good both in the air and God, he got 68 rushing yards against the Saints. So he's got his legs have helped too.
It's my only nailed it point.
I just think Washington's the better team, and they're getting points even on the road. To me, it's that one's easy. So, and then
I'm curious to hear the St. Louis Syndicate boys, Spearman.
Yeah,
because they've been on Baker and Tampa Bay all season, and so curious to hear what their takes are on that one.
Yeah, for me though, the one I love the most is the one that Pat's gonna throw stuff at me for saying. I love the Rams. I mean, the Rams getting the points against the Vikings with, I think the Skull Train, I think it's time to get off that thing.
Mean mugging.
Darnold, he looked completely rattled. He completed less than 50% of his passes against, I will say, a mediocre Lions defense. Justin Jefferson, he had 3 catches for 54 yards. The Rams, they rank in the bottom 10 in yards allowed. So their defense is not good. And that scares me a little. Bit. But their offense, I mean, I love having Stafford. I would rather have Stafford as my quarterback than Sam Darnold. So that to me is huge. Kyron Williams, Puka, Cooper Cup. I mean, I just do not see how the Rams lose this. They're at home as underdogs. To me, it's just too good to pass up.
Pat, care to respond?
Nope. No, I mean, you're right. Their offense. Is there a side bet? I'd rather have their offense. I'd rather have Stafford throwing the ball. No doubt about it. Our defense, though, man, our defense is looking so good. Like that first quarter against Detroit, you could see it. You could see how. But I mean, it's got to be deflating when your offense goes over in the red zone. You kind of, it's deflating, and I'm sure that's why the rest of the game turned out that way. But I feel like, I don't know, our defense is it's going to be a close one. But I predict Vikings 47, Rams 10.
I did have one thing. Sorry, I was looking. I did love the underdogs, but I actually really like the Chargers this week. I don't know. There's something about the Texans that just feels off. CJ Stroud, unbelievable last year in his rookie year. Second year, sophomore slump. I don't know what happened. It just, Nico Collins, I know, was hurt for a big part of the year. They lost Tank Dell. Like, they've had injuries. Joe Mixon's been awesome though. And I love Will Anderson on defense. And Houston feels like they should be better. It's in Houston, but here's where Bierman's going to be surprised by my take. I think Jim Harbaugh is a genius. Mm-hmm. I really think that he is an unbelievable head coach. I hate the guy, but I respect him. And I think that he's just going to have the Chargers dialed in for this game. Feels like they've been building. Herbert's getting healthy again. I don't know what it is, but I just think the Chargers might surprise. And so that's my favorite pick of the weekend is I have Chargers at -3. I think is what I saw.
I love that. I agree. Pat, you had mentioned the Bills and the Ravens. I also agree. The Chiefs they're not making the Super Bowl. I'm guaranteeing it. I am guaranteeing it right now. You guys can pick something for me to do if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl. Okay?
Oh,
not even a bet. Just you guys. I'm putting trust and faith in you that you will make me do something that doesn't put my life in danger. But other than that, I will do whatever you guys think if the Chiefs make it, because they are not making it. But the Bills or the Ravens, I believe, are the front runners to make it. Although I do really like the Chargers. They are my third choice. I would not be surprised if the Chargers win the Super Bowl. So there you go.
That would be that's a bold prediction. Bold. Pat, what about Bierman doing karaoke to a Taylor Swift song on the podcast if the Chiefs win?
Whew. Wow. We're going to lose some listeners.
Yeah,
sure. It seems fitting. It seems like a fitting one.
I mean, Travis Kelce, Swiftie, it's, I don't know.
There you go.
Might be something.
I'll pick the song. I got some favorites.
Yeah, I like it. I'm never been less worried about a bet in my life. So.
Well, there's nothing for Pat and I to worry about.
I hope to God that they don't three-peat. I just can't.
Yeah.
Chiefs fatigue, as they call it.
Pat's never rooted for you more, Bierman, in any bet that you've made.
Yeah.
You guys hate the Chiefs. It's so funny to me too, because I don't even like the Chiefs, but they're the best. I mean, they're the best team in the NFL for 3 straight seasons.
I like Andy Reid. I like Andy Reid. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to like on the Chiefs, but they sure are good. I mean, anyway.
All right, guys. Well, let's get into our top 5. Last week, we talked about our favorite experiences or recommendations from 2024, more like movies, TVs, things like that.
By the way,
share those in our top 5.
Sorry to interrupt, Eric, but I've already watched whatever that movie was with it's almost like the Superbad. And I'm almost done with the night. What is it? The Night Manager.
The Night Manager.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
love the Night Manager. Dude, so good.
Good.
Yeah,
I love the Night Manager. What'd you think of Booksmart?
It's funny. It was funny. It was good.
Yeah. It was, but good, dude. Night Manager's awesome. So I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
All right. But today we're gonna do a similar thing. We're gonna look back to 2024, but we are going to think about sports. So it's all gonna be our most meaningful sports memories from 2024. So it can be games, it can be records broken, it can be experiences, it can be people, whatever you want to do, but just a meaningful sports memory from 2024. So, all right, Pat, why don't you lead us off with your number 5 and number 4?
Well, when I was a kid, I could tell you the complete lineup of all 4 major sports teams in Minnesota, and I watched all my teams through the good and the bad. And nowadays, once a season is finished, a few months later, I can't remember who won a title. It's like I forget who was even in it, and after a while, it's like I'm watching one long continuous game and see. So it's but one thing about the games back then was they were on regular TV, and now you have this Bally's makes you pay for sports. So what I've done is, not because I can't afford the $20 or whatever to watch my teams, I just, out of principle, out of spite, I don't do it, and I only watch my teams when they're on national television, and I get into other teams. So for me, a lot of this year was about finding other teams like the Edmonton Oilers to root for, or watching baseball, watching my favorite players like Soto and Ohtani and those guys. And so it allowed me to expand a little bit more into the rest of the league. So for start with my number 5, I'm going to go with the NHL. And actually, I probably should have this higher, but the NHL playoffs last year were fantastic. Game 7 of the finals wasn't actually that good a game, but the whole, the comeback by Edmonton, they almost came back, and McDavid was the MVP, even though, every once in a while you get that where the losing team has the MVP on their team. That whole NHL playoffs is the best every year.
It's awesome.
Love NHL playoffs. It was Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
great series.
Yeah. I mean, they were down, I think they were down 3-0, if I recall, and brought it back to a game 7. But yeah, it was the playoff series leading up to that too, with Dallas, and all those games were awesome. But so that was my number 5, and then my number 4, I would have to say my Timberwolves making a run last year in the playoffs was fun to watch. Every year I kind of go back and forth. I'll watch hockey this year, I'll watch basketball next year, and I just kind of, I'll get into a team, not necessarily even if they're playing well, but like I'll just kind of, all right, I've had enough of hockey, I'm going to basketball this year. I've had enough basketball, I'm going to hockey. But last year I was off basketball for a while, but the Timberwolves team last year in the playoffs brought me back into basketball. It was a lot of fun to watch. They fell short against the Mavs in the conference finals, but that was good fun. Must see TV, and I love Ant Edwards. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 5 and 4 right there.
I hate the NBA now that the Sonics aren't around, but I did get sucked into the Timberwolves last year. I loved how they played. I love Ant. Karl Anthony Towns, still don't understand why they got rid of him. I'm sure it was money related or something, but
yeah.
I like Rudy Gobert, although I know he's kind of annoying to people, but I just love how he plays. And then also they have a kid from UW, Jaden McDaniels, who, it isn't like a superstar or anything, but I have that kind of close to home affinity because he's a dog. And anyway, so yeah, that was a fun. Those are 2 good ones, Pat. My 5, I got to put Scotty Scheffler and just his absolute dominance of 2024 golf. I mean, the guy, I looked it up. He won $29.2 million in tournament earnings. He won $25 million for winning the FedEx Cup. Another $8 million for finishing on top of the Comcast Business Top 10, which I don't even know what that is. And then won another $1 million at the Hero World Challenge just at the very end of the fall swing. He won 9 times, you guys, including the Masters, the Players, the Arnie Invitational, and the Memorial Jacks Tournament. I mean, the guy.
And he went to jail.
Yeah, well, that's actually higher on my list. So I'll get back to that one. But yeah. Scotty Scheffler, just absolutely unbelievable. And then I'll apologize in advance, but you guys, I know you're not soccer guys, but the European Championships is one of the coolest sporting events. I know. It's the Euros are, if you think about like in terms of world sporting events, obviously the World Cup is the number one. Like it or not, as Americans, we don't love soccer. World Cup is by far and away the biggest sporting event. The Euros is probably second. And this kid, 17-year-old kid for Spain named Lamine Yamal, is just like, I don't know, people are calling him the next Pele and all that stuff, the next Messi, whatever. But he just had an unbelievable tournament, scored in the final against England. It was just an unbelievable display of soccer from start to finish for a month-long tournament between the best teams on the planet. And anyway, super fun and incredible. So that was my number 4. Bierman, what do you got?
All right. So mine are just sports deaths in general. So, every year it's just always bittersweet to hear about the great sports stars, many of which I idolized or rooted for growing
For
up,
sure.
to hear
Yeah.
that they passed away, and in some cases they're just tragic deaths long before they should. But it also gives me just a great appreciation for the positive and lasting impact that sports truly can and does have for many of us. And it's just important to me to pay tribute to these people. And that's why sometimes, in our hot takes, I'll call out some people who've recently passed away because, people might say they've been, quote, paid to just play a game, but these people created joy and entertainment for millions and millions of people. So I do just want to give a quick rundown of the major names of sports stars who left us in 2024. So O.J. Simpson, say what you will about him as a person, but he was one of the greatest running backs ever. Bill Walton, great basketball player
Love
and
Walton.
announcer. Jerry West, the logo, enough said there. Willie Mays, probably one of the 5 greatest baseball players ever. Grayson Murray, young, talented golfer, died tragically too young. Chichi Rodriguez, iconic longtime golfer. Bobby Allison, longtime NASCAR driver. Lou Carnesecca, longtime St. John's basketball coach. And then a few that we've dedicated some time during this pod over the past few months to honor: Fernando Valenzuela, Ricky Henderson, Greg Gumbel, and Pete Rose. This one certainly hit me the hardest. And then one final one who I honestly didn't even know passed away until earlier today when I was doing this prep. And it made me really sad because he was basically my age and truly an all-time great basketball player. So I got to ask you guys, did you guys know that Dikembe Mutombo passed away mid-year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
God, that was
tough one.
Best commercial too.
Tough one for me.
Dikembe was the best.
He was great. I think we actually talked about it, Eric, on a pod. I know it didn't hit you as hard because you're not a Sonics fan, but the Denver Nuggets were the first ever 8 seed to beat a 1 seed. And that was against my favorite Seattle Supersonics team. And Dikembe, that image of him holding the ball as he laid on the court.
I do remember you talking about him.
Finger wagging.
I guess I forgot that you said he passed away. Wow. Yeah.
So sad, though. I mean, an amazing humanitarian, a great guy. My bad blood for Dikembe, long gone. So very sad that he passed.
Yeah. So anyways, there were more sports stars that passed away, but those were some of the major names. And I just wanted to pay some tribute to them because they did bring a lot of joy and entertainment to millions through their lifetime. So thank you all. The expanded Big Ten is my number 4. I'll keep this one short. Just seeing the expanded Big Ten, honestly, was cool to me. Yes, I know it goes away from tradition and history, and it's certainly sad to see the Pac-10 no more. But I think we got to face it, guys. College football is changing. For good or for bad, it's changing. And I will say, I really liked seeing some of these new matchups. If it's Michigan, Oregon, Michigan, Washington, you got Ohio State playing Oregon, you got Penn State playing USC. I mean, these are really cool matchups. And I just look forward to these and seeing these into the future. I also really love that there are no divisions anymore. I liked how the conference championship was between 2 of the 3 best teams arguably in the conference, and I think that's a good improvement too.
Nice.
3,
I went with again Major League Baseball finals, the playoffs, and the World Series. I thought that was a lot of fun. All the stars were there, the big payrolls. As much as you want to see other teams creep in once in a while, it was, for better or worse, it was some of the big stars, and it was fun. And Judge, Soto, Ohtani, Freeman having a great series. What a great end of the year for baseball. And I really got into baseball a lot this year again. I came back to baseball, I guess, and That was my number 3. My number 2, I went with the Olympics. I always like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Summer Olympics, you get these. I like following these random sports too. Like all of a sudden, I get really into whitewater rafting. Where they got to raft through the whatever the gates and you find yourself getting into these sports that you only get to watch once every 4 years. So always fun to watch the Olympics. So that was my 3 and 2.
My number 3, Pat already mentioned him a little bit, but Juan Soto. Just getting that 15-year, $765 million contract with the Mets. It's not even to me so much about Juan Soto specifically and that contract as much as where does this end? I mean, the guy's going to be old and he's making almost $1 billion. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm sitting here in a small market city, or Seattle's not a small market, but our payroll wise, we're small. I just don't know how the Mariners ever compete, how they ever win a World Series in my lifetime. Kudos, to your 2 cities and getting it done, even though Cincinnati, I know, was a long time ago.
Wasn't it like Ryan Sandberg, who was like $1 million man or something like that on Sports Illustrated when we were kids?
Yeah, like the first guy to
he's
get
making
that.
$1 million a year is crazy, and now it's like your place kicker holder gets $1 million a year.
Gets $1 million. Yeah. Million's like the minimum, basically. But
when did Minnesota last win it? When did the Twins last win it?
The World Series, 91. Yeah. We were 91 and 87.
Yeah.
Okay, 91. So we were Reds
right there at the same time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I should have just shouted out Cincinnati for being a long time ago. I was thinking of the Great Red or Big Red Machine. Kind of in my head, but Piniella and all those teams as well. Norm Charlton was a long Mariner after that. So my number 2 is apologies in advance, boys, but it's soccer again, and I love. Absolutely, one of my favorite teams to follow through the years are our national teams. I mentioned the hockey kids earlier. I just love the patriotism and the U.S. and national pride and everything that comes along with that. And I love the U.S. women's national team soccer. Not only are they just super talented, super talented athletes. I know that on the political side of the spectrum, people get annoyed and all the things, but I just have a lot of respect for those women. They've been dominant world power in soccer forever. And so them fighting for equal pay and things like that, I appreciate and give them kudos. They won in August. They won the Olympic gold medal. Emma Hayes, the new manager, came over from England. She was the Chelsea coach forever. And she, in her first major tournament, kind of gets this bunch of women back on sort of on the same page, and they go and win the gold medal, and it was just a really neat thing. So that was my 3 and my 2.
Awesome. My number 3, I'll keep it short. Summer Olympics, Pat. We're right there. I just being able to watch 2 straight weeks every day and night these events. I love all the events. Like you said, they're different events, ones that you don't normally watch. The icing on the cake for me, you get to see Snoop Dogg 47 times every evening. So I don't know what more there is to love, but I love the Olympics. And then number 2 for me, it's what I'm going to call trailblazing and game-changing sports performances. Boys, I'm kicking off the year with Bierman's patented twofer because there are 2 incredible sports performers that deserve this spot, and they could not be more different from one another. The first, a 30-year-old from Japan who doesn't speak English but is doing incredible things in the world of baseball. Yes, Shohei Ohtani. We could spend an entire pod on how great this guy is. But obviously 30? The big news was he's 30. Okay. Big news was him being the first ever to join the 50-50 club back in September, becoming the first player ever in Major League Baseball history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a single season. And of course, he helped the Dodgers win the World Series. Just an incredible once-in-a-lifetime type player. It was just really cool to watch him do that this year. And then there's a 22-year-old woman from Des Moines, Iowa, who has just completely changed the women's game of basketball, at least the interest level in it. And that is extremely noteworthy. Yes, Caitlin Clark, I mean, we've had other great female basketball players, Cheryl Miller, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, many, many more. But Caitlin Clark is not only talented, but for a variety of reasons, she is making people care about and watch women's basketball in a way we have never seen before. And that to me is so freaking cool. On March 3rd, 2024, when she also surpassed Pete Maravich to become the NCAA D1 all-time leading scorer, 3.4 million people watched her do that, becoming the most watched women's regular season college basketball game in 25 years. And then in the 24 national championship game against South Carolina, 19 million viewers tuned in. It was the most watched basketball game. Not women's basketball, not college basketball, but the most watched basketball game since 2019, period. It was the first NCAA women's basketball title game ever to outdraw the men's title game.
Wow.
And she continues to draw record numbers of viewers now that she is in the WNBA too. I love what she's doing for women's basketball and truly what she's doing for women's sports overall. So kudos, Caitlin Clark. That's my number 2.
Awesome one.
Yeah.
Forgot about her.
If you thought that was awesome, Bill, wait till you hear my number 1.
All right, let's go.
Vikes. Been playing with house money
Skull.
all year. Skull. It's been such a fun year to watch. I mean, usually I get used to the, when do we screw up or I get it. Last week was it, but usually it's constant. This year we were putting it together most of the year and it's been fun to watch. So for me, Vikes, it's just, we had nothing to lose and it's been a great, great ride. So that's my number 1.
Yeah. Enjoy those seasons,
Mm-hmm.
man. You got it. Yeah. That's a great one. I hope they play better this weekend, Pat. I'm really rooting for you and all my buddies in Minnesota. I know everybody's hoping they play better. So except for Bierman, who doesn't want that. My number 1, I'm going to pull the Bierman 2-pack out a little bit for my 1A, 1B. I'm doing that just because you mentioned Caitlin Clark, and it made me think of Nelly Korda, who won 5 consecutive events on the LPGA. I mean, that is ridiculous when you're playing against 140 players to win 5 consecutive events. I don't care what sport or what thing you're doing, but so kudos to Nelly Korda. That's my quick shout out. Pat already mentioned my 1, which is Scotty Scheffler getting arrested at the PGA Championship. I mean, in terms of newsworthy events on the year, I mean, I just remember waking up to my phone, buzz, text. Scotty Scheffler hit somebody with his car and he's in jail.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh shit. Like, he killed somebody in his car. And then it was just like, what's happened? And the whole deal. Then the guy he finally gets released from from jail, goes out there and shoots like a 4 under 66 or whatever it was. And the dude is a robot. He's an absolute machine, but that has to be my number 1 sports thing for the season. Just an incredibly crazy and weird day. Glad, obviously there was the worker there at the PJ, the volunteer who died, which was super sad, but glad to see that it wasn't anything beyond that. And it was patched up with the cops and his, khakis that got ruined or whatever it was. But yeah, just a surreal deal. So that was my number 1. Bierman, what do you got?
Oh, boys, this one was easy. You guys can guess what mine was. I had waited 26 years for this one, but finally got to see my Michigan Wolverines hoist the national championship trophy on January 8th. Yeah, sorry, Bill. It was at the expense of your beloved Huskies. Honestly, I probably enjoyed watching the Michigan-Alabama game more on January 1st, and it was definitely a closer game. But I won't go too for this one. I have to pick this game. Seeing Michigan win their first national championship since '97, and seeing Blake Corum and JJ McCarthy and Roman Wilson and all those guys bring it home for us was just so awesome. I truly cannot describe the feeling I had in watching that game. And when Mike Sainristil intercepted Michael Penix with 4 minutes left and returned it 80 yards for almost a touchdown, I knew we had it. final ticks came off. I remember jumping up and down with my daughter and my sons. Even my wife and dog were jumping with us. It was a feeling I will never truly be able to fully explain. One of exuberance and joy, but also one of relief, knowing they did it. And I don't need to hear that they, haven't won one in decades, or you beat Ohio State, but the Buckeyes still have won, national championship in the last 20 years and you haven't. It was probably more relief than anything, but it was an indescribable feeling, and one that I will always remember as just a massive fan of that program. So definitely my favorite sports memory of 2024, and truly one of my favorite sports memories ever.
I didn't know this was a worst 5 memories of sports memories. This episode. No, kudos to you. Kudos to Michigan.
You can step away for a minute.
Yeah, that's right. You could have done that. I knew that was going to be your number one, and I was avoiding it, obviously, for obvious reasons. But the better team won, and kudos to you and Michigan. I mean, it was really cool for the Huskies in hindsight to get there, right? But in the moment, it's just heartbreak. So
it's hard. Yeah. Hey, all right. All right, well, that was a fun look back to the world of sports in 2024, gentlemen, so thank you. It is now time to look to 2025, and more importantly, I think we might need to start planning our Nailed It weekend in Cincinnati. Oh, sorry, did I go there?
Yeah,
am I counting my chickens before they've hatched? Well, either way, let's get into the Nailed It segment, and before I turn it over to Bill, let's announce last week's listener leaderboard winner. So last week I announced that one of our biggest fans, and my daughter, and our research chief, Mackenzie Bierman, made the leaderboard, even though she isn't eligible for the end of season prize. Well, she became the first back-to-back winner.
Oh, wow.
She does it again, along with two-time winner, Mr. Mike Carr, also notches his second leaderboard appearance. So he had already qualified for the Super Bowl Nailed It edition, but because he won a second time, he's going to get some Sandman swag. So Mike, if you're listening, I'll reach out to you soon with an order form, and you can select some cool Sandman sports stuff. So congrats both Mac and Mike for making the leaderboard again. Well done. Just a reminder to all our listeners that each week gives new opportunities. So no worries if you haven't played yet. Join this week and submit your picks. And why wouldn't you? There's nothing to risk but the chance to win a fun trip. So do not hesitate. Go to our website, entercmansports.com. Click on the Nailed It tab where you'll see all the relevant information, including the link to make this week's picks. Be sure to do it. It's fun. It takes 2 minutes to submit your picks, and you have nothing to lose. So, all right, Bill, take it away.
All right. So here we go. So last week we had Eric 3 points, Pat and Bill 1 point. Eric's at 48, Bill 34, and Pat 32. So Eric's got a nice little chunky 14-point lead. All 5 questions this week are NFL playoff related. So let's just get right into it. All right, first game. Chargers are a 3-point favorite. They're heading to Houston to face the Texans at 1:30 p.m. Pacific on Saturday. All of our NFL playoff pools also get started then. So if you're listening to this and you're interested, email me. We got a ton of fun formats, and it should be a lot of fun. Great turnout already. So it's going to be some nice pools and pots. The over-under in this game is 42.5. It's the lowest of the weekend. What will the total combined points scored be in this game? 3, 2, 1, set. Okay. I went low, 40. You guys both went 51. All right. Wow. You guys are definitely seeing eye to eye on that. The second is a big AFC North matchup between the Steelers and Ravens is the Saturday nightcap. Possible MVP candidate Lamar Jackson against the resurgent Russell Wilson. This is a 2-part question. Okay, so which QB will have more passing yards? And if you get that right, how many passing yards will they get? Okay, so you have to get the first part right to be eligible to get the second part. Russell averages 225 yards per game passing. Lamar averages 245 yards per game passing. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1, set. All right. Wow. So we all went Russell Wilson. I went 230. Pat went 216. And Eric went 275. All right. That'll be really interesting to see. I think we all were probably in the same mindset of like Russell's going to need to be
garbage time. Garbage time yards. Yep.
Yeah. All right. On Sunday, now we have 2 rookie QBs on the road in their first ever playoff game. Bo Nix and the Broncos goes to Buffalo. Jaden Daniels, hands down rookie of the year, right? I think we'd all agree. His Commanders are in Tampa Bay. How many combined touchdowns will those two rookie QBs throw for on Sunday? Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. How many combined touchdowns will they throw for? Bo Nix averages 1.7 touchdowns per game. Jaden Daniels averages 1.5 touchdowns per game, which I also thought was a little interesting. You're going to have to nail this one, I think. This is going to have to be close. So. 3, 2, 1, send. We all went 4. Nice.
I was going back and forth between 3 and 4.
I was too. Yeah. I typed in 3 to start. Yeah, I love that. I tried to actually talk myself into going 2 just because maybe I'd have a chance to win this point. But nice job. Okay, we're all 4 there. That's interesting. Okay, the fourth question. Philly is a 5.5-point favorite against the Packers. We talked about all these games earlier. Shockingly to me, Jalen Hurts has more touchdowns rushing than Saquon. Jalen has 14 rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
Saquon has 13 on the season. How many touchdowns rushing will these two combine for on Sunday? Okay, Saquon averages 0.81 touchdowns rushing per game, and the tush push Hurts averages 0.93 touchdowns per game. So how many combined rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley? And I think we're all going to have to nail this one as well.
Bill's really trying to get the nailed it.
3, 2, 1, said. I didn't think about that, but okay. We both, Eric and I went 2. Pat went 3. I like it. Yeah, we're looking to make a comeback here, boys. Number 5. Okay, last question. We'll let Pat get out of here. So last, but absolutely not least, Pat's Vikes look to rebound after their tough Week 18 outing against the Lions. But we're giving Pat the weekend off here and nailed it from worrying about his Vikes because we're going to go to TGL Golf, which we discovered earlier. The first ever match, I thought I'd tease a little Vikes question for Pat. So the first ever match was last night. We're recording this on a Wednesday. On Tuesday, the first TGL match between Bay Club and New York Golf Club, and the Bay Club won 9-2. And I'm not going to get into players because we're short on time. So next Tuesday, Tiger Woods makes his first appearance on TGL. His Jupiter Lynx team is Max Homa, Tom Kim, and Kevin Kisner. Okay, those 4. They only play 3 guys a night. Then the LA Golf Club, Tommy Fleetwood, Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, and Sahith Theegala. That's who they play against. Now, if you guys didn't watch, so I'll explain just really quickly. Each match is 15 holes, and you can get 1 point per hole. Okay, so if you tie, it's 0 points. So it doesn't mean there's going to be 15 points out there. And like I said, the Bay Club won 9-2 last night. So the question is, how many points will the winning team score in Tiger Woods' first match of TGL? Okay, so you don't have to pick the team. Just tell me how many points will the winning team score. And we only have one match has happened so far, and the winning team had 9 points. So just for an FYI. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, send. Pat and I both went 6. Bierman went 7. Okay, Bierman, you're in good shape, I think. That was a nice one. All right, so that's it for Nailed It. Thanks for playing. Congrats to Mac and Dakar on last week. And get in. There's still a few more weeks to go, right? So people should be signing up and registering.
Yeah, absolutely. We have at least 3 or 4 more weeks to go, and it's an easy way to register. So go to our website, check it out. Love to have you join us for the Super Bowl edition of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, it is time to sadly exit Sandman Sports. Another great episode. Before we leave, I do want to remind all of our loyal listeners to check us out on social media, like us, subscribe to us, and tell others about us. You can check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Enter Sandman Sports. And our website, of course, is entersandmansports.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all the football action, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Good luck, everybody.
See you guys.